Someone shot the food. Life force running out.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, May the 25th, 2020 here, and you are tuned in live for the Mr. Video Games Live Super Live Show brought to you by Dead Sun Entertainment. We are here to please your ears today. Everyone clap your hands, say yeah. It is, of course, Memorial Day here in the United States. If you have family that's lost, my heart to you, but of course, also, I have no family, so I ate a bunch of hot dogs today, so I'm not going to really complain. It's a nice day to be me. I am, of course, Slacker Kite, Travis, what have you, and I click buttons here to make show go vroom. But of course, it wouldn't be the show without co-host. And returning this week, as always, the lovely, the swelteringly hot Lady Marilyn Lindsay, whatever you want to call her. Yay!
Yeah, I am definitely giving new meaning to the words swelteringly hot today. Fuck this. 102 degrees in American temperatures with
In
the
freedom
heat
units,
still
madam,
on.
yes.
Yes, in freedom units with the heat still on in my apartment. Screw the bylaws in the city. Especially since they have made no allowances for global warming whatsoever. The fact that we skipped spring entirely this year.
Yeah, I
But
think spring
I'm
was
gonna
like 30 minutes.
yeah, I'm gonna do my best to stay conscious and upright tonight.
Yeah, my respect for a county, country, any municipal laws slowly reaches zero the closer the temperature gets to 100 degrees. Like I have less respect for bylaws the more swamp assy I am.
I mean, we left Georgia for a reason here. Of course, my housemate, my brother from another mother here, uncharismatic. I don't know if you want to go by your name or not. I should have asked you before the show, but
Yeah, no, that my name or my nom de plume is fine.
all right, we got Hollis, uncharismatic, whatever the hell you want to call him, friend of the show. Brian is, of course, out on duty today. We will have him back likely next week, and we will talk about other video game shits with him, our main reporter boy, here next week. We have a bit of a shorter show this week just because not a fucking lot happened, really, to be perfectly honest with you. But there's some cool shit that swolled up, mostly in the hey, we're hitting that nostalgia well super hard this week, which is really not fucking shocking whatsoever. I think, Lindsay, I'll ask you first, though. How's your week been? What have you been up to other than dying slowly and baking in your own juices?
Well, a couple days ago, Epic released a remaster of what is probably one of my absolute favorite games just to bullshit around in. And so I've been playing that. um, they brought back Saints Row the Third, which is arguably the best
Ah,
in that series.
great game, great game.
And that's the game where I actually like finally learned how to use dual analog and how to run a 3PS. So many fond memories. I've been bouncing and giggling. I got Playwatch to sit and watch me play for a bit today. I mean,
Nice.
it's in his name, he might as well. Um, and he's like, "Holy shit, this looks awesome!" Very promptly grabbed it because he's only played Gat Out of Hell out
Hmm.
of the series. I've played 3 and 4. 4 sucked.
Oh,
I
that
didn't.
About
is.
I didn't like four. Four left. It had some of the same humor, which is what I'm in Saints Row games for. But it felt like it was trying to be like Crackdown or Prototype, and I'm like, I don't. I came here specifically for GTA style shenanigans with an actual sense of humor.
yeah, and I mean, like, I went into 4 hoping for 3, but better.
Hmm.
I mean, there's not much to improve on in 3 except for maybe your driving controls. And driving is one of the most fun things in the game. And then by about 2 hours into the game, you're so super powered because you've essentially become Neo in the Matrix that you don't drive anymore. It's not as fun. It just becomes a slow slog. So yeah, I'll take the third over any game in that series any day.
Well, Uncrez, how have you been? Like, I think it's been 2 years since we've had you on the show. Question
Uh,
mark.
yeah, but at least a year and some change. Well, no, yeah, it has to be under 2 years, but like longer than a year. Just given our living conditions and like what we were all up to around that time frame.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
considering we were all up northern boys suddenly.
yeah, became Yanks. Um, I've been dying, much like the lady Lynn. But my death has been facilitated by the fine retail shoppers of the country. The
At your
I
store of choice, yes, your essential working.
Yeah, for a company that will remain nameless but is still open. Um, and I have been slowly but steadily losing my faith in humanity, hour by hour, watching people perform real what like purchasing real essential items like interior trim paint.
Getting ever closer to showing where you work.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I I'm
Uh,
gonna fully admit I've been guilty of sitting here and crafting my little ass off to I've been nesting pretty much.
that I and I don't, neither myself nor anybody who works in similar circumstances minds when people are going stir crazy. It's when you get out. It's when you leave your house, refuse to take safety precautions, and get pissed at everyone else for taking them. That we start getting real grouchy. Um, Video game wise, I've been playing BattleTech. That should not surprise anyone. I'm a huge BattleTech Mech Warrior fan. I am I'm waiting for a little bit more of a financial boon before I purchase Mech Warrior 5 to play and burn myself out on. But I've been playing the BattleTech strategy game, and in the last week, I've been making a game out of finding games that are free on Steam or itch.io and playing them. And let me tell you, I have
Oh.
I have seen things. I I have seen things I will never be able to unsee.
Things no man should truly have ever seen before. I know how that free section goes, and I avoid it like the plague for a reason.
Yep. Usually it's because I end up rage quitting and being really frustrated, but yeah, I've seen things too and just no. Just no.
Yeah, I refuse to look away from this abyss.
I'll,
Sometimes it really pays off. Like it, I you know, over the week I'll get you a list of weird stuff that is both free and bizarrely engaging
ooh, at the same time?
at the same time.
Could always use free and bizarrely engaging. That should help with the stir crazy and the fact that I refuse to leave my house.
Let me tell you, when you find a game that's like, oh hey, you can play Sudoku but using colors instead of numbers, and it'll give you anime girls in their underpants whenever you beat a level. I'm like, okay, look, keep your anime girl in your underpants, but this is a really well designed UI for Sudoku. Amazing.
I'm bad with the math and the numberings, so the thought of Sudoku without the numbers might actually make it an enjoyable game for.
It was. I'll try to find it on Itch.io again. It was a grid box where you were trying to put all colors in the order of that they influenced one another. So if you had a red block and a blue block, you had to put a purple block between them, for example, and like the
Yes.
box would get larger, and you'd have less time to complete it, and you'd have more intricate mixtures. I gotta see if I can find it again.
Okay.
I'm so down for that. But
Uh,
Trev,
yeah,
what have you been doing?
Well, when I haven't
Nobody
been
ever asked.
over the last week, dealing with my two lovely cats who are starting to get along slowly, each day by day a little better. And of course, the hellscape that is trying to keep dentist offices afloat during COVID, which has just been fucking lovely. Let me tell you, I decided, I talked about it last week. I got into hard mode in Final Fantasy VII, and I was super into it. The first 75%. Then I hit the end game, and I don't know who told Square that they could build a brick fucking wall in difficulty in the last, what should be 2 hours of the game. But fuck you for turning what was, my first playthrough, like an enjoyable 2 hours, into the worst fucking slog that I've ever done. But the 14-year-old me is happy now because beat Final Fantasy on hard mode and unlocked fucking everything. I haven't gotten platinum yet. The only reason I haven't gotten platinum is because I'll have to replay like the first 9 chapters about 3 times to get all of the beautiful dresses and mini games. I don't fucking want to do that. That sucks. I don't want to. I probably will end up doing it anyway because I am losing my goddamn mind. But still, that slog wasn't fucking worth it. Don't play Final Fantasy VII hard mode. It's not worth your time. It makes you feel like it's worth your time when you start and everything's going fine and it's fun. And then you die 50 million times against Ruthless Shinra because he's a piece of shit, and every walkthrough says, hey, if you really want to do this section, you have to actually beat the hardest optional boss first, because then you get the thing that makes it possible. I don't know why I did this. I have like 500 other games literally just sitting around waiting to be played between Steam and Epic and my backlog of actual games and shit. And here I am being angry at
so
something I didn't have to do.
can I have Cloud wear any of the pretty dresses?
Not unless you build a mod into the game, which I'm not hacking my PlayStation.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know it's there and it's not hard to do, but it's not worth the effort. Yeah, in Giant Pie, I enjoyed a lot of like my first playthrough on normal difficulty was great, and like the first 15 hours of hard mode was fantastic. It's just mastering that game is a shit. I don't understand who these people are that enjoy like going through grinding and shit to get very specific options so that you can cheese your way through all of the fights, because you literally have to cheese your way. You can't do this without the optional items, and they're very true in those statements, which I found out the hard way because I didn't want to do them and then went back and did them. But these people are goddamn weird, and that's a video game for you if you hate yourself and want to min max your entire fucking life away. I'm not salty.
No, not at all.
Sound you sound a little sodium rich.
You know what will make me less salty? Let's talk about actual video game news. And the game that has absolutely made me the least salty in my entire life, Golf with Your Friends. I actually legitimately love this game. But it might be as stress inducing as what I've actually done. I love this game and all of its glorious bullshit. It's from the people that brought you Worms, and it's just a fucking delight. But it is Mario Kart plus extra in the raginess.
It's Mario Kart putt putt.
Hmm hmm
I've
Yeah,
seen let's plays of this, and I have it. I just haven't sat down to play it.
oh, Linz, we got it. We got to get you in a round with like me and Kite and like 5 or 6 other people.
Yeah, like we've actually played it here, a good few times. This is one of our favorites. Me, Brian, Hollis, Joe, and Josh have all sat down to this. It's I believe up to 8 players per course, and it's mean. It's super mean.
I'm excited and I'm so totally down. Like the
Fucking
closest
Candyland
thing
course.
I've played for ridiculosity has been a freebie that I found called Nice Shot. It's gun golfing. So you literally are taking like assault
Sniper rifle.
rifles, giant golf ball, and each type of gun is your different types of like uh golf clubs.
Mhm.
So like your putter is a pistol.
I legitimately thought like Golf with Your Friends was literally never going to leave early access. It was in there for like 4 or 5 years. And during that time, I spent at least a good 30 hours playing it, but I figured it would never actually leave. But now it's out on all the things. But what really makes me laugh my ass off about it is that while Golf with Your Friends was in development, like 80 different golf games have released since then that have been like, hey, we're like Golf with Your Friends, but and some of them honestly are legitimately better, but this is the one that stole my heart first. So, you get to have this one, and I'm not playing the other ones. One Rage Simulator is frankly enough.
Yeah, and this is sort of the problem. Like, I love Golf with Your Friends. But like before, I've been asked like, "Oh, would you recommend it?" I'm like, "It's hard to do that. It's in early access. I have no idea what the game's going to look like when it's done. Like, it's existed for so long now, like as an entity, sort of like in motion,
Hmm.
as like in development. That it's like, yeah, a whole a whole like ecology of similar games has popped up in the interim.
Yeah, and honestly, some of them are legitimately better, but like this is the one that I played first. I don't really know what else to say now. It is interesting all of the shit that they've added to it since the beginning of it. What with your ability to lay out traps for people now and the multiple different game styles that they have. I see why they stayed in early access for so long, but it's amazing to me that they ever left. It's sort of like how Fortnite technically is still in early access despite it just being what it is, right?
Being Fortnite.
Yeah, one of the most popular games in all time technically is not ready for release yet, question mark.
It's 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 so mind-boggling. Like early access now kind of means nothing.
But a game actually releasing means nothing now, and we're going to go into a slate of these, but literally everything is being remastered now, and I'm actually glad we have Hollis on the show today, because the first thing that is being reported, coming to VentureBeat, but expounded a little bit by Forbes here, is that the Mass Effect trilogy is going to get a remaster, which feels weird to me because like Mass Effect trilogy was only done like what 5 or 6 years ago.
Mass Effect 3 was done in like God, when was that done?
I feel like it
Um,
was 2013, 2014.
no, it's
First
2012.
Mass Effect. The first Mass Effect was November 20th, 2007.
Hmm.
3 came out.
Andromeda came out in 2017.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not getting remastered. If they can forget about that game ever existing, they absolutely will.
yeah, you're not wrong. I actually kind of I don't have a problem with Andromeda, but that's a conversation for a different time.
See, I feel like I kind of missed the boat with the Mass Effect trilogy because at the time of these releases, like I didn't have any console or PC for that matter that could run it. So I think now, like once the remaster comes out, it's a good excuse for me to step in.
Yeah, and that's here's hoping it's a remaster and not like a Silent Hill remaster.
That's what I want to ask you the most. Like, Hollis, do you feel like this is a game that needs a remaster already?
So it's I mean, kind of like it's Mass Effect relied a lot on an engine and animation that they weren't good at when they tried to do it. Like, so yeah, it could. I mean, it could really use like if we're talking about a remaster, yeah, it could absolutely use a fresh coat of paint. Um, although EA being the ones to announce it, um, BioWare BioWare isn't the company that made the first Mass Effect. That makes me
Mm,
nervous, especially it's BioWare EA now.
yeah.
And this isn't a remake. This isn't like the. It doesn't appear that this is like the Resident Evil remakes or anything like that, where they go into like, and they're like, what's the fundamental DNA of the game? Let's make a game around that. Which honestly, the game could use a lot more than just like we made everyone's hair shinier. Like, that's cool. Like shiny hair is pretty neat.
Yeah, I like my anime hair.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Hmm.
But and I think the big wake up call is going to be that people forget what the sort of user interface and how much RPG influence there was in the first Mass Effect game. Because 2 and 3 were pretty dramatically different, were
Hmm.
pretty dramatically streamlined. They cut a lot of that RPG fat out. So I don't know if they're going to be doing that for this new game or not. If they
Ooh, if
if
they
they are,
do, that's gonna make some fans salty.
yeah, well, it already made fans salty when they did it to 2 and 3.
Hmm.
Although 3 had plenty of salt to go around. Like,
Yeah, the main reason I never touched a Mass Effect game, beyond the fact that I'm just shit at anything that involves movie shooty stuff, and I just don't care for any game with dialogue trees in the first place, is that community made every game sound like the worst thing to ever exist. So I just never bothered to touch it because just even the fans of it were like, "This is garbage." Like, why would I play something that even people who say they like it hate it?
no, I get it. I don't know, and I didn't hate any of the games. I enjoyed them. I didn't hate 3. A lot of people hated the ending, and I'm like, well, it was a fight against apocalyptic monsters for the end of the galaxy. Did you think you were walking away? Like, you think everyone was gonna go home? Like, nope, it's not how that works. That being said, I do under like the people's complaints about the ending of 3 are completely valid. Like, it wasn't written that way. I put that more on EA than BioWare, but I mean that's
Hmm.
how that goes.
Yeah, that does make me wonder if they're going to more canonize the fixed version of the ending of Mass Effect 3 over what they initially put out.
I almost guarantee that they are.
Hey, Gilbert. While we're on this remake train, Capcom is definitely the biggest in the hey, we're going to take this old shit and remake it. I don't know how you're remaking Resident Evil 4, but God bless you for trying. Their next attempt after 4 looks like is going to be Code Veronica.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Code Veronica was good, but definitely needed more polish.
Yeah, I've always heard that out of everyone. Like, it was a cool idea for a game, but it just never really hit home and never really felt right. Resident Evil is one of those series that just did some weird shit, right? Resident Evil 3 was not even supposed to be 3. It was supposed to be something else entirely. At the last minute, like, this is going to be a mainline title. Shit, okay. Just throw fucking everything we have left at it. We don't have time to make more games, so we'll make game different.
Like it's the although that by that same token, like I wouldn't. Code Veronica's great, but I wouldn't trade it in like the number series for Code Veronica on like my worst day.
Yeah, so like a remaster of Code Veronica makes a lot more sense. I don't know why they didn't, start work on this first before Resident Evil 4 because it's a double-edged sword regardless of what you do with Resident Evil 4. It is I know that people that are fans of the core series of Resident Evil don't love 4 because of how much they changed. But Resident Evil 4 brought on the masses into Resident Evil, and it is beloved by literally anyone that started off with Resident Evil 4, myself included. And Resident Evil 4 was one of those games that fundamentally changed the next decade of video game mainstream releases that came after it. That playstyle changed how everyone looked at runny shooting games for a good long while, and I was kind of fine with it, to be honest. I enjoyed that playstyle. Ooh, sorry. More than anything. And yet again, Resident Evil 4 is probably one of those games had a lot of weirdness in it because of the fact that it was literally 5 different games before it was released, including it was Devil May Cry before Devil May Cry existed. What a weird fucking game, but bless you, Capcom. Give it a go. See what the fuck happens. I love the fact that you're just fucking throwing shit against the wall. And will this work? I don't know. Let's go for it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's I've seen a lot of people complaining about you know the the wave of remasters and remakes coming out. And I get it. I do. You want new games, but there are plenty of people out there making new games and new content. If Capcom wants to take a few years and do really amazing remasters and remakes, I, and this is coming from somebody who has been wanting Mega Man Legends 3 for 20 years now. I'm not going to begrudge them that. Like I'm not. Like there's no problem with remasters and remakes. There's a problem when remasters and remakes are the only thing.
You're not wrong, but it's Capcom's doing other things between remasters and remakes, and while I would say it is in a lot of ways domineering the AAA market, there is a whole smorgasbord of games still coming out if you're paying attention. There are more games being released than are possible to play. We'll get to it later, but like a single company is literally making more games than are fucking playable. So I don't mind. Make it. Throw shit against the wall. See what happens. I'm really cool with the shit Capcom has been doing and trying out, taking some of their old ideas and doing the upgrades with them. And Resident Evil 2 remake was probably one of the best remakes of all time. It wasn't a game for me, but between Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 7, shit, I thought the Resident Evil series was dead after how fucking awful 5 and 6 were, and to lesser extents. I mean, some of the side games were fine. The rail shooter that was on the Wii was okay, I guess. They had some decent side ideas, but not anything that kept me, spirited into Resident Evil. Now I'm back in like, hell yeah, give me more Resident Evil. Put that shit on my plate. I will eat it.
Yeah, I never really played Resident Evil when it was new. And so now that all of these remakes are getting done, I might attempt it, although runny shooty, no problem. Scared runny shooty is a problem.
Yeah,
The
even when they're being campy shits, Resident Evil is the most frightening game I think I've ever played, and that is saying a lot.
it's no Doki Doki literature.
That is for damn sure. Um, yeah, like I love more than anything campy horror because it kind of gives you a little bit of respite from how genuinely unsettling some of the shit is. Um, just for an example, when Resident Evil 4 came out, my friend Sterling lent me his copy. I remember literally sitting down. Uh, I got to the first village scene and got my head ripped off. I turned off the console instantly, put it back in its box, and refused to touch it until I gave it back to him. Now it's one of my favorite games of all time. But that first time, just getting my head severed from my body was done. But on the opposite side, we're going to go through some good and bad of various things the industry is doing right now. This one is very much one of the weirdest ones, and we've been talking about this a good bit. Um, Last week, the update 1 for Doom Eternal came out, and Doom Eternal, really an amazing game. Uh, and highly recommended. Was a lot of fun with me. But with the release of the update 1, they added the de novo anti-cheat rootkit into the whole shebang-a-bang. That basically, when you start the game, whether or not you play online, it looked at root level at your very core kernel to your computer to see if there was any cheating technology in place and would lock you out of the game if you did so, which bothered a lot of the community, understandably so, because Denuvo is not exactly a well-trusted company in the first place, and putting something that is looking directly at your kernel kind of makes PC people salty. But I said it last week. It's understandable and it doesn't bother me, but I understand why people are annoyed. So with the 1.1 patch, they're completely removing it from Doom Eternal, which is great, I guess, for the people complaining. But now you're back to the same issue that people had with the 2017 or no 2016 Doom reboot, was that the online was unplayable at that time because most of the people playing the 2016 Doom were using cheat bots and the like in the game. So, what the fuck do you do at this point?
I mean, really, what they could do is they could make it so it only enables if you're playing online. But the problem is a lot of these games require an online connection,
Mhm.
even if you're just playing single player, which is kind of balls. Because I'm sorry if my internet's down, I still want a game. Um, so like that would be a solution. I mean, kudos to them for actually listening to their fan base though and going, yeah, maybe this wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, it's I mean, I avoid it by not gaming online all that much, and not socializing in that manner. But that's not an answer. It's like it's not. There have to be other like, because the way it's the way it's going, it's like de novo or just a cheat phalange, and there has to be another option. There have to be other anti-cheating measures than de novo, because it's too sketch to really be trusted.
Yeah, I really wish there was a middle ground. And while id is very adamant that they're the ones that wanted Doom to have specifically de novo in it, I don't understand why. When there's a lot of online games that use anti-cheat engines very well. Especially when you look at stuff like League of Legends. They have a lot of great anti-cheat software enabled that don't necessarily look into your root. So while they say that this was what they needed for their specifications, there have to be other options. uh,
Yeah, like, your specifications need to change if that's the case. Because if your options are real shitty or nothing, then the problems with the person choosing the options, at least a little bit.
yeah, like, okay, I'm aware from a software development standpoint that getting something that looks in the middle ground between your game and what the PC itself is doing, which is what most cheat bots are doing. They're not directly integrating with the game software, they're running over it instead in order to find that. Finding a way to do that that doesn't necessarily fuck with your PC is going to be an extraordinarily difficult thing. But, you know, as a conversation Brian and I had last week, we both love this game, and neither of us have any interest in ever playing this shit online. It was nice to fuck around with the online avatars that the game gives you, especially with all the build outs that they give you through unlocking shit through the single player. But I don't know. It doesn't feel good. I don't care. You're not really going to do anything to me by, installing something that looks at the kernel, as long as you're not disabling things in the kernel looking at fucking you, Sony. But yeah, it didn't bother me one way or another, but this is a fucking Ouroboros at this point, eating its own fucking self, and just the levels of stupid that have gone through this whole process.
Yeah, like, it like it can't stay. Like, it can't survive another iteration into this franchise.
They basically, like, it might come down to them having to develop their own and have it only active for online play.
You still there? Or did I drop? Okay, I think Discord dropped me despite the fact that it's showing full ability here. That is real cool. Give me a second to drop and rejoin here. I'm very sorry for those live.
We're back.
Hi!
Okay, so I have no idea where I cut off. Basically, they're going to need to develop their own, um, and then have it active for multiplayer only. If they have it active for single player, they need to take cue from how they did it with like the mods for Skyrim, where if you enable one of these mods, you get no achievements.
No, and I agree with that, but at the same time, I don't think they really care about how you fuck around with a single player. This is the same Doom Eternal already has cheat codes built into the game. Literally just by finding them as little Easter eggs throughout each stage. One of the first cheat codes you literally find is God mode.
Well, and I mean, like, that follows the tradition of Doom. Like, who doesn't. Okay, I'm going to rephrase this. Who grew up playing like Doom 2 doesn't remember the cheat codes for that game. Like I still remember IDDQD
ID,
and
CLID,
IDKFA.
ID. Yep.
Exactly. So like Doom has always been about those little internal cheat codes. I'm talking external modding.
Mm-hmm.
Like aimbot, fuck that shit. Fuck aimbot. I am so sick and tired of that. I see it in GTA. It pisses me off. And that is a great example of exploits gone bad.
Mm.
GTA Online is a clusterfuck. RDR Online is also a clusterfuck because it's the exact same build
Mm-hmm.
as GTA Online. So if you had the exploits for GTA Online, you've got them for RDR.
Yeah, and if a game as big as Grand Theft Auto Online, one of the biggest cash injected games of all time, still has anti cheat or still has cheating going on within its game, you know for a fact this is hard to pull off. So I'm not necessarily mad at id, but watching id's fan base between this and the whole kit and caboodle around the soundtrack, these are some grumpy fucks.
Yeah, but the soundtrack is understandable. I mean, that's somebody who's had their work literally just ripped away from them.
Yeah, but I don't know. The whole soundtrack thing was just shit on all sides. It's a whole shit show for.
What happened with the soundtrack thing?
All right. So for those who do not know, when id said that they were releasing Doom Eternal, they also said that people who pre-ordered it would get a copy of the soundtrack. What happened behind the scenes that we didn't know was that they signed a deal with the I forget his name, but the guy who made the soundtrack and has been always making the soundtrack to Doom. And it became apparent to them just a few weeks before the game was to ship that he was not going to be able to complete this. So they extended his contract despite the some EU problems. But while they were doing that, they also took their own sound engineer that did not have the masters because he would not give up the masters to his soundtrack to try to get a soundtrack cobbled together from what they had. And he didn't even hit the final extension that it gave him. So they just put out the soundtrack that they remastered themselves so that they had something for all the people that pre-ordered it and were getting angry that part of what they had requested along with the initial game did not come to them. So kind of a fucked situation on all ends. So I'm not really mad at anyone, but there are a lot of gamers that pre-ordered it specifically for that soundtrack, and the soundtrack, while still a fucking banger, had some definite audio clips and oddities in it that anybody that is a huge audiophile would probably notice, but to ye average duder, probably not going to notice. So yeah, these are both controversies that to me I look at and just go, why do you guys care that much about this minutia? But also I get it. You expected more out of a company than what they gave you, and really at the end of the day it doesn't matter that somebody else was the one that fucked up in the first place. If it even is that way, you're putting your faith in this company to deliver, and the Doom franchise is fucking storied. It is the big banger, especially when you look at when Doom 2 came out. Other games were called Doom clones at that time. When you entered the cheat codes from Doom into other games, the game would fuck with you because you tried to enter a cheat code from Doom. They knew what their market was. Um, so the people who are invested in Doom are lifelong investees. So I get the love for it, but some of the anger and vitriol that's been directed at id over what to me is a fucking solid game is a bit much. But I get it. I am not saying that you shouldn't be angry. um I just can't feel on the same level that you do.
Yeah, I'm sitting here flipping through the Doom, um, like the Eternal reviews on Steam. All of the negative reviews that I'm seeing, at least off the first page, is because of Denuvo.
Yeah, and 2 weeks before that it was because of the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like I wanted Doom, not spyware. Wow. I mean, it's blunt, but it's fair.
Is
You're not wrong.
Well, while we're in rage territory, oh hi, my second monitor's flickered off. That's good. Hey, let's talk about GTA because we haven't talked about these shady fucks in a good long time. And while I'm on this rage bend, let's just really fucking hammer it home. You may remember that G2A said about a year ago that any game developer that could prove that they had game keys being resold that were stolen from the developer, they would give them 10 times the cost of the game. Instead of having a third party review to it, G2A reviewed it themselves. So, hey, who knows if this is even the extent of it? But one company did take them up. The Woob Software, the creators of Factorio, said, okay, fuck you guys. We'll go in on this. We'll work as hard to prove it as you want us to. And they did. And G2A tried to make it as if they were the good guys here. They found 321 keys that were definitely resold on their studio, and we're not even talking a huge game. Factorio isn't exactly a AAA banger here. This is a relatively smaller thing. So 321 keys, it's kind of a lot for them. So they got paid out $39,600 by G2A. And I want to read to you the statement from G2A, the spineless fucks. When we launched this offer, we wanted to send a clear message to the gaming community that fraud hurts all parties. As we spell out in this blog, fraud directly hurts individuals who buy illegitimate keys, it hurts gaming developers, and it ultimately hurts G2A because we are forced, as a transaction facilitator, to cover cost related to the sale. We wanted to amplify that message and capture people's attention, so pledged to compensate developers 10 times the value of any chargeback fees they incurred, despite the fact that we had nothing to do with the illegal acquisition of these keys. The gaming developer community has our solidarity and our sympathies on this issue, and we want to continue to building bridges. With our main point being made about the seriousness of fraud in the industry, from now on we will compensate developers the full value of any chargeback fees they incurred for any keys sold via G2A Marketplace, if they are able to prove that they were illegitimate. So you're trying to come out as the good guys here, reselling keys for companies that are losing money because of sellbacks that were keys that were not even meant to be distributed in the first place. But we're the bad. We're in with you. You lost. We lost. We all lost here because we agreed to pay you money for these. So clearly, we are the losers here. What a bunch of fucking shits. I hate G2A with the bottom of my soul. And you know that it's hard for me to say. Usually I'm the one that's like, well, I think this is an inflated deal. No, fuck these guys. Fuck G2A. What a bunch of shitlords. I have nothing positive to say about this company.
No, they're sleazy, slimy fucks, and like I get it. It's almost in a certain in a like to a certain degree, it's almost refreshing. Like Steam, Steam does a lot of sketchy shit and a lot of slimy shit, and they do a lot of things. A lot of their stuff can be just chalked up to their total indifference for quality control and all that. But you can also make the argument that they're this open market that anyone can get on there and put anything up there, and there's conversations to be had. G2A is a pile of shit. It's garbage. Like they're just a fucking cesspit. Like no 2 or 3 or 4 ways about it. And like there is something refreshing about being handed just a fucking garbage. Like, no, this is garbage. This is garbage and fuck off. As for, of course, they're going to try to make themselves everything. They have to try to make themselves look like, one of the aggrieved parties or like one of the good guys, because like everything they do has to be tailored to make it so it is always as hard as it can possibly be to make the argument that they're legally liable. Everything they do has to serve that function. You know what I mean? So of course they have to say something stupid like this. Of course they have to make as if they're one of the aggrieved parties as well. Because if they stopped doing that, if they got out of that habit, they'd move more and more towards a situation where they could be held legally responsible for the environment that they directly benefit from.
Well, and that's just it too. Like they have long said, "Oh no, we're not a black market. We're sort of the good guys because we're a gray market." Dude, it's still wrong.
Yet I've never heard a morally beneficial argument to, yeah, we know less about what they're doing. that makes it better.
Like, I don't think I've ever met anyone who are the G2A apologists out there? Who are the people actually buying their keys from G2A and feeling good about it?
I've seen people who are like, fuck you, got mine. Like, why should I worry about the moral implications of a company? Yada, yada, yada. I should always endeavor to get products at the lowest possible cost. That's the market works, yada yada. I have seen those arguments out there. It's not like they don't exist. And there are a lot of people who don't even bother arguing about it. They don't try to pretend it's morally good or whatever. They just do it.
I've seen the people make the argument of, well, at least I'm not torrenting it.
I would rather you torrent it because they're losing money on this. Like, yeah. If you want the game at this low of a price, just fucking go steal it. I will have less qualms with it, especially if you are somebody that is financially burdened enough that you can't afford to go buy the games. But God, if you have the money to, pay for the game, you really should. There are exceptions to it, of course, especially with the game developers. There are some that are shady scums. You will never see me give a dollar to Ion Fury in my entire fucking life, but I may at some point go torrent it just because the game itself looks good, but I don't want these people to have a dollar of my goddamn money. If we're talking about especially like 20, 30-year-old games where the people who made it are no longer at the company and they're reselling it, I prefer to go buy it myself just because to me it is easier. But if you're going to go emulate Sonic the Hedgehog 3, fucking go to town. I could give less of a fuck. But this is fucked up. and is greedy and evil and shitty, trying to make yourself look like the good people. Just shit.
Yeah,
And
I get it.
I hate being the person, especially that just goes full ham on you are an awful person and I don't know how you sleep at night. But yeah, I don't know how the people who run this site, maybe not like the people working, at the lower levels, you find a job, you got to do what you got to do, whatever. But the people who own and run this company are shitbags.
Yeah,
Well, that's just it. They sleep perfectly well on stacks of money. They don't have that kind of moral like they have no morality. They go, "Fuck you, give me money. Hey, look, got paid. Fuck y'all." Like that's it.
and like, and I can't stress enough. Like there are, and I've had to keep this in mind with some other, less than savory, you know, uh, capitalist or political institutions. There are there are always going to be massive numbers of people who aren't shit posting about it, who aren't trying to well actually or sea lioning or anything. They see everyone's arguments for or against. They don't engage. They just go do the easiest thing. Like, and they're gonna do it no matter what. There's not really, and or I should say they're going to do it as long as the the avenue by which they can do it, the market like GTA is available to them. They will do it.
You guys want to go into something a little bit nicer?
Yes, it's too hot to be angry.
uh, I
Agree.
I know a lot of people have their issues, and rightfully so, with Epic, but they've been doing a lot of good things, especially if you are a smaller indie company. Their better share of market revenue has definitely been nice. But Epic Games has, especially the last 2 weeks, put out fucking GTA 5 and Civilization 6 for free, which are two huge games. GTA or Civilization 6, one of my favorite games of all time. But as well, they're working on a partial refund policy. If you buy a game now, shortly before a sale goes on um, for one of their games, and several people have been posting this, that you are getting a partial refund of what you bought before that sale. That's just
Would
fucking,
that
that's cool.
would that also qualify for their free games? If you bought something and the game was free, would you just get a full refund?
I don't think it's for like the free games being put out because there's no way to really know that. But they announce when they are going to go on with a sale before they usually do, and what they're going to look like, that sort of thing. Um, so while you can refund a game for the full cost 14 days after purchase. So if you bought a game and then it came out free, you could technically refund it and then get it free. Uh, so that's a little bit different. It's not a full policy, but they are doing this automated for um, people who bought the game that then went on sale like a few days later. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that just didn't know the sale was coming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, both of those are good. I'd like something larger than a 14-day window, personally, but both of those are, I would say, good policies.
14 days is huge when you consider Steam is 2 hours.
You exceptionally good point.
I will say Epic has got some massive, incredible sales. Like I just picked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the Gold Edition. So it came with the season's pass as well. Normally would have been $129 Canadian.
Hmm.
I paid 30.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of prefer Epic Game Store at this point. Like, there's still a lot of things, the features of Steam that are still missing from the Epic Game Store. So I understand, especially people who don't want to get involved with that, especially because Epic has so many ties to China, and there's a lot to be said there as well. I understand, and I'm not going to knock anybody that has their own dislikes or qualms with Epic. But some of these things are nice, and I can appreciate it for what it is. I have so far put a grand total of $30 into the Epic Game Store and have 200 hours worth of gameplay now involved in different stuff that I got from their store. So, all right, people are getting paid for it, and for a lot of these, I don't really have to do fucking much. So, thank you.
I will fully say Epic really needs to implement a shopping cart.
You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
If you
Yeah.
want me to binge purchase your games, you need to make it so I can do it more than one at a time. Especially since I refuse to let you save my credit card info, so I have to retype it every single time. Give me a shopping cart. I will fill it.
Be direct with you, I'm going to go where the developer tells me to, because yeah, John Borg, you're entirely right. Like, the Epic Store could really use an overhaul. Like, Steam did a recent overhaul, especially of their game store, and it fucking looks beautiful. The Epic Game Store, meanwhile, it exists. It's fine. But I would honestly rather you put a little bit of the money that you've been putting into some of the free games, rather into making your store easier to navigate, like Epic or like Steam has recently done. So, these like 150 games that I now have that were free from Epic, they're nice. Um, and if I were somebody with more free time, that'd be really fucking dope. I don't have the free time to play all these games. I'd honestly, personally, rather have a better navigation, but that's me. Yeah, absolutely. John, you buy the game where you feel is most morally, as long as you're, putting your dollars into, the environment in whatever way you have available to you to do. Do it. I have always felt that people who produce content should be rewarded for that to do so, because so many people are looking especially for the way to go about and say, I don't need to do that. There's so much ways to get stuff for free. Why shouldn't you be giving me this content for free? And well, there's definitely a difference between what I'm getting on YouTube and what I'm getting on Netflix or Hulu or what have you. It's just different. So the question is, what is that value to you of having quality produced entertainment versus somebody working on a shoestring budget? And if you're going to put out that stuff that requires a huge budget to do, I'm always going to be on the side of try to get you at least your fair share of compensation for it. A little bit more on the gray end of everything. This one honestly confuses me a little bit, and you'll understand why. PlayStation Plus subscribers have been given 2-month access to Funimation now, um, in compensation for people complaining that this month's free games from the PlayStation Plus have been lackluster. Now, PlayStation has been giving away games, whether you have PlayStation Plus or not, lately, that have been pretty damn good. Meanwhile, people are complaining about getting your choice of either City Skylines or Farming Simulator 19. Now, personally, City Skylines is a fucking phenomenal game that I adore, so I'm a little confused by the complaints. I understand, yeah, last month they mentioned Uncharted 4 and Dirt Rally were both released, and those are definitely much larger games, but saying City Skylines and Farming Simulator are not really worthy of your time is weird, but hey, they made up for it by anime question mark.
I think it's a case of like Farming Simulator 19. I played, I think it was Farming Simulator 16.
Mm.
They haven't changed anything. It's still boring as fuck.
Yeah,
I mean, no offense meant to you guys who might enjoy it, but no. And I mean, City Skylines, like, that's a really old game by this point.
true, but they're still updating it to this day.
Yeah, they are. But the thing with PlayStation Plus is a lot of people have PlayStation Plus to get the new games for free or
Mm.
newer. Like Uncharted 4, that's a fairly recent release. It's at least a hell of a lot more recent than City Skylines.
True.
So, and I mean, didn't they offer Farming Simulator 19 free on Stadia?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah.
Epic Game Store.
And through Epic. Like, I've got it through Epic. Am I ever going to download it and play it? No. It's in my library, though. I see free. I go clicky.
Yeah, I played Farming Simulator 19 on Stadia just because man, that is the device that gives me the fucking giggles for all the wrong reasons. I'm literally holding on to it because it is my favorite source of Schadenfreude right now. Um, but God, Stadia still continues to suck ass with their fucking library that is garbage as shit. The service is fine, but god damn, that library is horseshit. But if Stadia gave me City Skylines, despite the fact that I already own it, already bought it, and other people have given it away for free that are smaller, but yeah, it's very nice of Sony to give away 2 months of Funimation. My Hero Academia is fucking great. It's not for me because I am not that kind of fan, but boy, it is a really beautiful, well put together show that you can only really get on I believe either Funimation or Hulu question mark. So yeah, get yours.
I mean, I feel bad for the people that are not fans of either one of these games and also hate anime. Because, like, that's
At
just your
what point?
pickle on top of a shit sandwich. So,
At what point does it end? Like,
Yeah,
dear,
and
dear sir, who hates farming and anime, I sent you one bag of caramels.
here are your Werther's originals, sir. Have a nice day.
I hate caramels. Look, fuck off, kid. Look,
What can I fucking do for you then? You don't like farming, you don't like anime. What do you like?
don't even like caramels. I understand, and Linz makes a great point here. The network for a lot of people is only justified by the quality of the games you get,
Mhm.
and it's not it's easy to dismiss it as whining, as I literally just did. But it's also fair that Sony courted these customers with these new strong like recent games, and them offering the Funimation so quickly, given the backlash, tells me that this feels a little bit like Sony was testing the waters and was almost immediately prepared for the backlash. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like these are simulator games require a very certain personality type. In Kelvin makes a good point. I think me and him are both the same personality type that are perfectly fucking happy with your simulator games. And Farming Simulator is the most boring shit I've played in my entire goddamn life. I at least see the appeal in shit like Euro Truck Simulator. It's not for me, it's pretty damn boring, but there is a certain amount of zen involved in it. Farming Simulator is fucking boring trash. Holy shit, your life has to be nothing if you are into this game. And I'm sorry, maybe there's a Farming Simulator fan out there listening to it right now, and I know there are a lot out of you. I do not get it. It is just a dull, repetitive slog.
As someone who dated a person for 5 years and almost married them who loved Farming Simulator, I don't get it.
Yeah, I have spent hours of my life hunting down and organizing the most ridiculous 80s cartoons or like pre-Toxic Avenger Trauma releases. I don't understand Farming Simulator.
We
Like
still have to do that podcast, by the way, for the 80s cartoon intro. We got to get on
oh
that.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I did take a second to check. This is Canadian pricing, so I don't
Mhm.
know what the American pricing looks like.
Mhm.
Um, Farming Simulator is a $25 game.
Yeah.
City Skylines is a $30 game. So when you're coming off of Uncharted 4, which up here I believe is still $80, and then you get handed discount bin, I understand the upset. Like, I really do.
Calvert is pointing out that there are esports leagues for Farming Simulator, and I'm dead. I'm literally
Like
dead inside right now.
like that's it's like when I found out that there was a racing league for non-motorized airplanes, like for gliders that you just throw rather than like fly. And like already, I was having a hard time believing that people like had pro-ams for remote controlled like flying planes. But then someone looked at them like, nah, it's too corporate. We need to take the engines off of them and just throw them.
My brother actually has gotten into like ESPN has been digging in the ditch for sports, and my brother lives and breathes sports, so he's been watching the Russian slapping events. Um, they're kind of amusing, actually. I'm not going to lie. I watched the clip of it that he posted, and just watching grown ass men slap the shit out of each other is kind of great.
Oh yeah, I mean that's hilarious as all hell to watch. But I mean like so the whole Farming Simulator esports, to me, I'm equating the level of excitement, and I apologize to any fans, to NASCAR. They're literally making left turns. That's it. That is the most boring thing ever. I don't understand.
I even understand NASCAR. My father was a huge fan of NASCAR, and when you turn on and you get that engine roar and all that shit, it gives car fans a fucking hard on, and I understand why.
They speaking of races, I have watched a few of the recordings of marble races.
Bless John Oliver for funding marble
Yeah,
racing.
I thought he was joking when I watched that video at like 2 in the morning. He was not. He was
Okay, we've diatribed enough from the fucking topic, even if it's kind of on topic. But while we're in that Sony area, let's talk about the PlayStation 5. Because, it's coming out this holiday, and while we don't have a full listing yet, there's a decent list of games that are, that so far have been announced. So it's nice to have just a little bit of a roundup here. So I'm just going to briefly say the names of all of these, and then we'll get to it. But we've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Destiny 2 will be released to it, and Fortnite, of course. Godfall, The Lord of the Rings Gollum, Outriders, Quantum Error, Scarlet Nexus, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Watch Dogs Legion. Unconfirmed but expected as well, we've got Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Quarantine, Warframe, The Elder Scrolls 6, Battlefield 6, Cyberpunk 2077, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Call of Duty 2020. It's a decent.
Yeah, it's a good list. The one thing about Warframe being on there, they jumped on the Switch as soon as they could.
Mhm.
But the one, and this will probably be the only negative thing I ever say about Digital Extremes, until they get their cross play and cross save in order,
Mhm.
releasing it on more consoles is a mistake. Because I have put over 1,000 hours into that game. If I got a PS5, I don't want to start from the beginning again.
Yeah, I definitely for an MMO, your cross saving ability is kind of fucking key. At the very least, with games like Fortnite, right? You're able to access your account still and get a lot of those bonuses. Meanwhile, when you're going to Warframe, it's basically starting all over again. Oh, fuck that.
Like, I've enjoyed my playtime in that game, but there are still some story missions that I don't want to have to do again.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. That's yeah, but you've got your driving games, you've got your role playing games, you got your
Yeah,
actiony.
I'm super interested in that new Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, I've talked to a few different people. There's a few different takes on Vampire the Masquerade. It's either, depending upon the person you ask, extraordinarily edgelordy, or kind of gross, but in an interesting, macabre sort of way. So it'll be interesting.
It's like I feel like I feel like I win either way. Like if it's interesting, I win. Interesting, and if it's a hot mess, I win because hey, look at the hot mess.
There you go. And I mean, yeah, a lot of these are cross-gen titles as well. Most of these will be launching on the PS4 as well as PS5. Not to just mention as well that they will come out on the Xbox, regardless of you're talking Xbox One, Xbox Series X, or the PC itself. So you don't necessarily have to jump into the PlayStation 5. I still haven't seen anything that tells me you really need a PlayStation 5 yet. I know that the load times are going to be better, the graphics are going to be slightly tweaked better, you're going to get better ray tracing on the PlayStation 5, sure. But none of these games really have jumped out to me and say, yeah, you need a PlayStation 5 because this game is going to fucking sell it to you.
Yeah, looking at like Assassin's Creed, like I don't care. I used to hope after every game after Black Flag, I was like, is this going to be as good as Black Flag? They haven't been.
You tried Odyssey.
No, I
It's
haven't.
okay. I have played both, and I have watched more hours of play of both than I care to admit. Odyssey is actually probably the absolute best game in the series.
Eh,
The level of story and like the sheer depth of that game
Like,
is
I've
just
watched Joan play a bit of it. It's fine, but it's really not for me, I guess.
there is a lot of grind, but that's Assassin's Creed games.
Mhm.
And I'd be interested in Godfall as a fantasy action RPG if Gearbox weren't involved. Um, the Outriders looks like Destiny, but it listened to Linkin Park and the fanboy for a little too long. Um, Bloodlines looks interesting. Like I'm not. This is the thing. Like people talk about like, oh, I'm sick of like remakes and remasters. I'm like, here's a Rainbow Six game. Here's a Rainbow Six game. Here's an Elder Scrolls game. Here's a Battlefield game. Here's like 2 to 9 Call of Duties. Okay, this is nice. This is good. This is the same fucking thing. Oh, Dirt 5. Okay, great. Now I can finally experience the bone-chilling uniqueness of driving a car.
I mean, dirt games are great, but like the difference between different dirt games are apples to
Sure.
oranges.
That's my point. Like there's different kinds of slightly different. And I tend to get more jazzed up about the ones that tickle some of my nostalgia. So the Resident Evil ones, Code Veronica you mentioned, that sounds neat. Whereas like we're releasing another Rainbow Six game, I'm like, do you have to?
But oddly, the Rainbow Six games, some of the best-selling games of all time, and I don't understand.
Nor I. But this is all just to reinforce your point. You're absolutely right. Like there's nothing. Vampire gets close for just an oddity factor, but nothing is. But there's nothing about Vampire that says it's not going to come out on PC. You know what I mean?
Marilyn, I never want to hear the words hard mode out of anything for the next 2 to 3 weeks. That entire phrase. Salt.
Frame's version of it is actually more of a proper version of it. So basically, you can still play the standard maps, standard missions, but the hard modes are going to. So if an enemy level range in a level is like between 3 and 8, you run it hard mode, it is going to be between 63 and 68.
Coop, I
So
will kick you in the hard mode. All right.
But there is like you said, there's nothing on this thing that's selling it to me. Where's Dad of Boy 2?
That is a game that would legitimately like Data Boy wasn't one of my favorite games of all time, but it was the most unique game that I think I had played that year. So I absolutely want to see Data Boy killing Thor in the next game. I am for it. But maybe that is a release that will come soon. I know that there's an upcoming state of play as well. It's going to be primarily featured for The Last of Us. Fuck it, I may actually cover it on Wednesday because I'm going to be off work. I might as well. But I'll be watching it one way or another. But kind of excited for that. But of course, that's again going to be one of those games that is going to be cross PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, coming to PlayStation 4 first. So still, maybe they're waiting for, to really give you that oomph in the summer. That Unreal 5 demo that they put out, rock hard for that shit, but nah. Either way, the last story of the day. I'm going to let you guys talk on it first, but Rockstar's parent company has announced that they are working on a fucking massive number 93 games to be released by March 2025. Before I even put myself into it, I would love to hear what you guys have to feel on this first.
I'm excited,
Yeah,
but
that sounds like the typical crunch time. That sounds like the work to output ratio that we've come to expect from Rockstar.
there's also a few caveats with this set of releases. Half of them are existing IPs, which means we will probably see GTA 6 before 2025.
Mhm.
Awesome. The other half are new IPs. 26 of these titles, oh no, 21 of these titles are for mobile.
Mobile games aren't always bad. Like, I love my Down Well. I love my You Have to Build a Boat. So maybe they're decent mobile games.
Possibly, but, but,
Mm.
I mean, how many would actually be good out of 21? I mean, they're saying 17 are mid core arcade experiences, 13 are casual, 47 of the 93 are from existing franchises, and 46 are new intellectual properties.
And what the hell does a core gaming experience mean?
So it's going to be arcadey. So it's going to be, at its root, it's going to be a very arcade like game. So might be another looter shooter, might be a just hell, maybe they'll pull some inspiration from Devolver and do like a side-scrolling platformer.
It would be interesting to see them, if anyone could sort of recontextualize what like a triple A developer means. It's Rockstar Games. I
Mhm.
mean, they have that clout with their fan base. So yeah, if they're like, yeah, we're releasing a 2D side scroller. Fuck it. We're making Clash of Demon Head 2. Buy it or don't. Now, if they made Clash of Demon Head 2, almost all would be forgiven.
I mean, Rockstar could grab like Super Meat Boy and revamp it, and it would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. But we also have to bear in mind, it's not Rockstar.
aren't
It's Take Two.
aren't they still working on Super Meat Boy Forever? I know Ed McMillan is not involved in Team Meat explicitly, but hold on a second. Let me just look this up here. I know this is entirely besides the point, but yeah, it's supposed to come out sometime this year for fucking everything. That game's been in fucking developer hell for years, so why is Ed McMillan listed as the designer? He's not. That's a bold faced fucking lie. Anyway, yeah, that game has been in development hell forever. It was supposed to be a mobile game at first with one button click mechanics, and now it's something entirely different. That's a diatribe anyway. What gets me about these statements that they're making, so 63 are core game experiences, 15 platform extensions. It doesn't tell you where the crossover between, okay, so when 63 are core gaming experience, are we talking about 72 are planned for console, PC, and 21 are mobile, but are we talking core gaming experience on your phone? And Hollis is correct when we're talking core gaming experience. Where what do you define as core gaming experience? Are you talking AAA published title, or are you looking at core gaming experience as being one of the predefined platforming? You know, you have a defined height for this, but I don't understand what this fucking means. Clearly, absolutely, GTA 6 is definitely going to be in this 2025 pipeline, but
Although, further down, during a QA session following Take Two's prepared remarks, the CEO, Strauss Zelnick, declined to confirm if one of the 93 titles would be a new GTA title.
you know it will be. I know it will be.
It's gotta be.
The fact that fucking it rains, it snows, and Rockstar will make a new GTA about once every 5 to 10 years, depending upon the intake of property. That's just something we know they're going to do. Whether it's necessarily GTA 6 or like they did with the GTA 3 engine, making hi, making multiple properties and the like. I get it.
But again, like we've got to consider that this isn't a statement from Rockstar, it's from Take-Two.
Yeah.
So, like, they're behind Borderlands 3 and The Outer Worlds. So, I mean, we could see a Borderlands 4. um, or like another WWE game, like they say we're getting WWE 2K Battlegrounds this fall.
Uh, yeah, so some of this will be absolute garbage. That is definitely absolute on that. Uh, I have no doubt that a good quarter chunk of this is going to be shit that we did not need in our lives.
Borderlands, the mobile edition.
Mm. I really want all this. Yeah, John Borg, WWE really should take the year off from games. Maybe go hike in the Netherlands. I don't fucking know, but they really need to go find themselves again and understand what a WWE game is because, boy, this year has been a shit show.
Yeah. But I mean, with the whole GTA 6 thing, they provided their shipment figures for GTA 5 and RDR2.
Hmm.
130 million for GTA 5, 31 million for RDR2.
Christ.
Compare it to Borderlands 3 with a whole 10 million and The Outer Worlds with 2.5.
Hmm.
So,
Given
like,
I really loved Outer Worlds, that's hurtful.
yeah. But like looking at the IPs that Take-Two currently holds from various developers or various developers, they'd be stupid not to look at a GTA 6 or an RDR3.
Yeah. At this point, Rockstar basically just fucking prints money. I know that Take-Two has definitely changed a lot of what Rockstar's development cycles look like. They've always been a company to go ham deep, but we'll see. But like I said, water's wet. GTA 6 is a game that's eventually going to come out. It's just a matter of is it going to come out in 2 years or 5 years? We'll see.
My guess is 4.
I'm going to split the difference with 3.5.
I feel like you just undercut me on the Price is Right.
I bid $1.
Gross. All right. As always, that is the final news piece this week for Mr. Video Games for May the 25th, 2020, your Memorial Day here in the United States, or Monday as the rest of the world calls it. Either way, we always end Mr. Video Games by coming up with the link to something that is the best, the worst, the stupidest, the craziest, what have you. Apply your adjective to a noun and look at it and you say it stated and see this is video games. This is video games. And of course, your Mr. Video Games don't Kelver and I know it's Tuesday over in Ozuland. You men and women are in the future, and what else have you? Doesn't matter. Mr. Video Games for this week. Man, this well is a well that does not end. Animal Crossing. Specifically, a man who has decided to build a reptile prison out of his island in Animal Crossing, and just an entire layout of snapping turtles for various things. This man out of Japan has built race courses so that his Animal Crossing people have to run through them and pits of turtles so that these people can never leave their beds and never go home. The amount of dedication that people have given to Animal Crossing and doing weird ass bizarre bullshit in this game is amazing. And you, sir, Milk Tank 211 from Twitter, a name in Japanese that I absolutely cannot pronounce, is god damn amazing and adorable. And you are a fucking weirdo, and I hope to never meet you, for I fear you. Are my Discordians still here, or are you just reveling in the turtledom?
I'm here and I'm fucking terrified.
I'm just.
Maybe I don't want to switch.
I'm mainly sad for the existence of Animal Crossing.
God, the Animal Crossing community builds some of the weirdest bullshit. A fucking track where at the end of it you fall into a hell pit. Um,
A long way to go to
congratulations.
catch up with the weird shit I've seen Minecrafters build.
Also true. Minecraft, I think, lives for the highest level of fuckery. Friend of the show, Naomi Cola, uh, I have seen some of the bullshit that she has built in Minecraft, including an unending slaughter pit so that string can be built at a push of a button from an endless spawner that makes things fall into a death pit that then drop the remnants in front of you so you can collect them.
I knew someone who in Minecraft built a legitimate slaughterhouse and steakhouse combined. It would spawn the cow, shove the cow into fire, and when a cow dies in fire, you get cooked steak out of it. And then it would flow along a conveyor belt to a chest.
Huh.
What we're saying is when you give people a open sandbox, they're going to bake some goddamn weird shit. And during this whole COVID thing, people have been hugging their Animal Crossing. And while you get great things out of it, such as AOC giving a commencement speech to one particular group of people who graduated and decided to hold their time together in Animal Crossing, you also get this Turtle Death Island. So thank you, Animal Crossing.
Yeah. And I mean, Giant Pie brings it up too. You get PETA protests because they were protesting aquariums
What?
in Animal Crossing,
What?
saying that it's, yeah, yeah, yeah. The link is in the Discord somewhere.
I'll find it. I'll find it. I'm not
Oh,
gonna be happy about it, but I'll find it.
but this has been your Mr. Video Games for Monday, May 25th, 2020. As always, I want to remind everyone there's a link to the Discord and our various Twitters. Hollis's is not linked, but all that good stuff is down there in the links below. Of course, we do this every Monday. I am currently, over the course of the next week, I'm going to be doing some research for anybody that is on the Dead Sun Discord. You can follow along with me because I am going to be doing a deep dive into the oldest of old school technologies for the first of the History of the World podcast that myself and Brian will eventually be doing. We haven't set a date for it yet, but we will eventually be doing that. As well, there are other activities and stuff that are going on behind the scenes in Dead Sun. Some more obvious than others, and some are on temporary hold, but I will get back to as time permits. So thank everyone for following us here on the Dead Sun. Of course, this comes to the end of our show. Lindsay, do you have any final words for us today?
As always, guys, love each other from an appropriate distance. Wash your damn hands, wear your masks. I mean, Where I'm living right now is a fucking fantastic example of what happens when people jump to try to get back to what they consider normal. We've had 3 days in a row where we have had over 400 new cases each day immediately following the reopening of our economy. Um, and we haven't even gotten everything into full swing. So, be good to each other, love each other, just be awesome folk, okay? And try to keep your spirits up. Craft, do something creative, make someone smile. That's your task for the week. Make somebody happy, even if it's just you. I'm gonna start giving you guys tasks to keep yourselves occupied. That's gonna be a thing now.
Can I do that
Thanks,
while
Mom.
playing BattleTech?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. All right, done.
Uncharismatic, any final words for your entry here into the Mr. Video Games podcast?
If you need stupid, frivolous shit to keep yourself from being bored, have it fucking shipped. Also, allow no one to make an argument against collectivized responsibility based in things like cowardice or freedom or personal freedoms, individuality or efficiency or anything like that. No. No, this is hard. It gets less hard the more we're willing to think about one another and work together.
Yeah, I am constantly surprised at how well Buffalo is doing. Like one of our favorite dine-in places today we visited, and they have a whole curbside pickup thing to because they never had a drive-through before. They're implementing a quasi drive-through now, which is fucking neat. I'm so glad that where I live is doing a lot better than our home place of Georgia. I do want to give a shout out to Steel Collectibles from back home. One of my favorite shops in the Atlanta area. If you're ever in Atlanta, it's about 30 minutes north in a city called Kennesaw. Steel Collectibles is one of the best fucking places I have found in my entire life if you like collecting odds and ends and bullshit. Funko Pops, old video games and consoles or comic books, what have you. They fucking have it if you like collecting weird shit. And they sent me a Game Gear with 6 AAA batteries and a copy of Sonic 1. I didn't ask for the other things. They just fucking sent along with it for a really reasonable price. It works great. And of course, after 20 minutes of playing it, the batteries died. But that is the Game Gear experience for you. So um, yeah, I just wanted to thank them for that, even if they'll never hear this thank you. Fucking great.
You should email them with a link to the show.
Fuck it, I might. We'll see. Of course, the show, by the way, does go on youtube.com/CPGP games. If you miss the episode, you can always check back there and give any of our past episodes a watch. Thank you, Giant Pie, John Borg, Coop, Kelverin, and all of our listeners who do not do the speaky talks. Diablo Graves, of course, you spoke up during the show, and how can I not mention you as well? Thank you all for joining in and coming to the podcast. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye.